I'm in a lot of pain. But if I don't do this, I might forget to do it. And I'm in too much pain and don't feel organized enough to do Yenta. So I'm going to do disability humor, but it's only okay because it's my disability. And I think any parent of a disabled child or disabled person will tell you that, just disabled person, it's okay if I laugh about it, but if you laugh about it, it's not okay. So we're going to talk about autism. And there are a lot of theories on autism. A lot of theories. And high functioning thinking and also high functioning autism, savant syndrome. I had very intelligent parents. Sometimes I question their intelligence these days because I am in so much pain. But early on I was adopted, and my mom, Pat, had to work with me a lot. And she's too nice to say she had to work with me, but she put stickers and labels on things. But early on, I had an opinion about things. Early on, there were 3 outfits that I would wear. My Little Pony, Rainbow Bright, E-t-shirt. Those are about the 3 things I would wear. And my mother would have to wash them. She did not argue. She did not mind. But that meant she washed them every day. Also, when you have autism or some sort of learning or intellectual disability, for me, high functioning autism, I really enjoyed personal time. Even as a younger kid, I would make up jokes like I'm doing now, and plays, and do personal time. Already, having autism, it's you think all the time. So you're already thinking all the time. And then when you're with people, you're having to think more, and it can be very exhausting. So there's some things I had strong opinions about. Textures. I was, didn't like girly things, but that's probably just because I was trans. Did not like slips, how they felt on my legs, so I would, again, my mom would get phone calls. Your daughter's slip is in the garbage can. Your daughter has taken scissors to her frilly socks and cut off the lace on the frilly socks. So there's just things that are really good about, and this isn't, everyone's different, but for me, I'm incredibly positive, like naively positive, which for a lot of parents, it's a beautiful, wonderful thing, but it's also very dangerous because just completely, believing that everyone is wonderful and great. It was junior high when I really stopped believing in Santa. And it was like a hard understanding. At first, why would anyone lie about Santa? Sorry, if there's any kids out there. Why would anyone lie about Santa? And that he wasn't real. I was shocked. Couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. Just could not believe that anything, anyone would tell me something that wasn't true, and then I could not believe that it wasn't true when they told me it wasn't. So those concepts are very hard. Linear thinking for me is very hard. Santa felt like a betrayal. like a huge betrayal. And it didn't get any better from there, There were things I could brilliantly do, maybe, if it's creative, but mathematics were a struggle, and things that were very organized were very struggles. I was so happy. I remember those houses where they would do, try to scare you into Jesus, called them Judgment House, and they'd always have the hell room where they'd put all the plastic on the walls and turn the heaters on. It was like a garbage bag on fire. And my friend and I would walk in there, and we were just happy. I remember we were singing Dixie Chicks. That's kind of like my life right now, in a burning plastic garbage bag with the Dixie Chicks around me. But anyhow, just so happy. I didn't have a good radar, and still don't have a good radar for bad people. And that is a hard thing for parents. If your child just thinks everyone is wonderful, is incredibly positive and optimistic all the time, which I think is a gift. I think it's a superpower, but I definitely dated guys that I think were Ted Bundy. And, of course, Lee Harvey Oswald, for sure. And didn't know it. People would have to tell me after the fact, after I maybe have gotten a tattoo for them and cried for like 3 or 4 weeks, that they were not good people, and that just, it continues throughout my life, and not understanding why anyone would be bad or unkind. That concept is very strange and very trusting. So I think there's a lot of theories on autism, and my parents were very smart. I was adopted, had a lot of changes early on. I had a lot of injections into my body as a kid and some other things, but I definitely struggled. And then another thing with my autism is I'm always thinking about animals or how things that are really not something people would think about all the time. And as a kid, you would sometimes blurt out uncomfortable information about your parents, like details, in public, because you remember everything, and you'll just say things. But autism, I may not get your joke till later. I may not get my own jokes till later. But there's things I think about that I don't think I'm always thinking, and it's exhausting. I'll see animals and worry about their food source, where their bones go when they die, if they have enough food. I over-processing all the time. I can tell you things about animals that I don't know, I really worry and am completely concerned about animals all the time, which is bizarre. I don't know if that's just all people with autism or just me. I can remember things to very finite details. That's, agony, especially if it's something bad. Let's go to the next shirt. But it's just exhausting. So I don't even know if this is comical. But when you're always thinking and your mind can never relax, before there was really the diagnosis of autism, doctors would just say it was all sorts of things, fixations, obsessive compulsive disorders, and if you look at it as a bad thing, all a bad thing, then there you don't see the brilliance of it. But it is a disability in the sense that you do need social cues. My social cues are people, good people. Are they taking advantage of me? Really always been very hard for me to understand that. Really hard. And just thinking all the time, worrying. And then someone, just really fixated on things that I don't think people would ever worry or be concerned about. And thinking all the time. Personal space is something I've always enjoyed and loved. And being around people's fun, but it can be really exhausting. Understanding people's motives. By the way, Ted Bundy drove a Volkswagen. Understanding people's motives is really hard. And why anyone would be mean to someone that's disabled still is mind-boggling for me. So, sometimes thinking about all the things that go into the subject matter instead of the subject is another thing. But always thinking is exhausting. And how to turn it off for a lot of people with autism is doing something creative, or just zoning out, or focusing on one beautiful thing that you love, that you may obsess about. I don't know if that helps anybody. But won't eat mushrooms, won't eat olives, don't like slimy textures, still very stubborn, but still think everything's gonna be okay. Not now. I don't think everything's gonna be okay anymore. But how do you know you have autism? Again, early on. And you know, will brain injuries change that? Yes, brain injuries can change autism. Hormones, a lot of things can change it. Trauma. Why anyone would be mean to someone that's disabled, I have no idea. But I try to think of it as a superpower, but when people are mean to me and I can't understand or fathom it or gather what they're doing, it feels really cruel, because I don't understand. And I don't have that skill of reading them. Okay, that wasn't funny. But it's a lot of it better than pilgrims giving me diarrhea.